Welcome to a product review video. I was recently contacted by the Hotwire Foam Factory. Excuse me, I'm going to grab a knife here. And I had recently purchased some of their foam coating products, and I saw a few of the products in the background of my videos up higher on the shelf over here. And so they asked if I'd be willing to do a review of some of their products. And I, excuse me here, eagerly said yes. Get off of there. And I was very interested in getting some samples of some of their products so that I could do some experiments with some of them and share some of that information with you so you can get a better judge of whether these products will help you. Overall, I think you're going to find a lot of these products pretty interesting and have some unique properties to work with foam, which is often the backbone of a lot of terrain-making projects. So I thought I'd go right through an unboxing with you. I'll start off at the beginning. I'll show you what comes in the basic foam coating starter kit and a couple of the other things that they included for a review. And then I'm going to give you the first part of a review of a little bit of their foam fusion, which is their glue. So first, what did I get in the box? I had some packing material. Let's get rid of that. Well, they included their basic foam coating kit, which includes, it's like a foam coat sampler. It includes foam coat, which is a gypsum cement, as far as I can tell. It's pretty fine texture. You mix this up, apply it to the foam, and it strengthens it, sort of like applying a plaster over the coating. This is a 3-pound bottle that comes with that. You can mix, push this back here, you can mix into the foam coat. Let's see here, wait a minute. Boost. And Boost is it sort of looks like PVA glue, but it smells like it has some other chemicals in it, so I don't think it's just pure PVA. It has a bit more of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a volatile, not quite acetone, but you can tell there's a couple other chemicals in there. They include an 8-ounce bottle to go with this. I found this to be a good pairing, and the first time I purchased this starter kit, this mixed equally with this, pretty much consuming both. Depends on the ratios. We'll talk about that later when I review this product. You also get a bottle of their Foam Fusion, which is their foam glue, and the Foam Fusion looks a lot like a PVA. It's a heavy-bodied PVA, kind of akin to wood glue, which is what I'm going to be comparing it to today. You get 2 of their grit texturizers. Now they include a coarse grit and a medium grit. I think these are the only 2 that they offer. The grit idea is that you mix it into the foam coat when you initially mix them up with Boost, water, whatever it is you're adding to it, and then this imparts a bit of a texture to the final finish that would help, say, with dry brushing, adding a little bit of surface texture to our final product. You get a 8-ounce bottle of Bounce. Now, Bounce is an interesting foam coat product. I haven't really explored this very much, so I'm really interested in working with this for some of these videos. And I had a project that left the TerranScapes shop recently I thought would have been optimum for this. This is basically a thin, rubberized clear coat that imparts a little bit of protection to the foam without actually making a significant buildup layer, and also imparts a little bit of rebound to the material so that when you deform it, the foam will rebound somewhat to its original shape. So I'm interested in taking a look at this. They say you can mix it with the foam coat. We'll go over that later. I don't know. I'm a little skeptical of the mixing between the 2, but we'll try that out and we'll see how that affects it. So you get that. You also get a piece of mesh. This is a nylon mesh that you would apply to the foam and then foam coat over this to create an enhanced structural, strengthener. This is sort of akin to adding like chicken wire mesh before you use cement or something along that line. I imagine it must improve the durability quite a bit, but I have not used it to date, partly because most of the time I'm coating things that I want to retain some detail, or I'm doing large flat areas, and I think this would be a little cost prohibitive and a little bit maybe of a challenge to apply quickly, you know, on sort of economical basis. But for a unique custom project, might be a good idea. Anyway, haven't tried it out yet. We'll take a look at that a little bit later on. So you get, what is this, 2 square feet of this, I believe. 2 square feet of that. You also get a invoice, what you purchased, but you also get a DVD. And the DVD has a sort of a walkthrough of the general line of products, what they recommend some of their basic uses for, and a few tips and tricks on how to go about utilizing them. I found the DVD, when I watched it, to be honest, a little bit light on information. It's a little bit more promotional rather than instructional. And as somebody who has a science background, I was a middle school science teacher for years, I have an undergraduate degree in science, I really wanted some details. But that might just be in a unique perspective because of my science background, and this might fit the bill for a lot of customers for the foam coat products. But I felt like a little more detail, a little bit more, say, some actual factual numbers to go along with the products, like this imparts a compressive strength of 8,000 pounds per square inch when used at 1/8 of an inch, or something like that, to give you some comparison maybe to some other plasters on the market and get you a sense of, you know, really how much are we improving the strength. You know, maybe of 1/8 of an inch coating of this, bounce would allow a dent up to 1/4 of an inch to rebound on extruded polystyrene. I don't know. Maybe I'm asking too much, and maybe they don't have those numbers. But that was the kind of information I was looking for, and it really didn't quite fit the bill. But it does come with the set, and you do get that free. The entire package here for the... let me see if everything's in the video. Yeah, it is. Okay. The entire package that you get here costs $39.95. I don't think that includes shipping. $40. I found the foam coat and the boost initially when I first used these two products to give me coverage of just about a 6x4 foot table, used at about 1/8 of an inch and mixed a little bit thin. So that gives you some idea of what kind of coverage you're going to get out of the starter kit. And of course, I haven't used the grits. I have been using the foam fusion, and I haven't really explored the bounce. So those are like bonuses for the project for future work. So that gives you a little idea. They do sell these products in larger volumes. You can get their foam fusion in gallon jugs. You can get their foam coat powder in 25-pound boxes. You can get their boost in 1 gallon or half-gallon jugs. So these are all available at lower cost and higher volume on the site, which is something I really liked. What else did they send me, though? They gave me a few other things which I was pretty excited about here to try out. Let's take a look here. If you haven't been to the Hotwire Foam Factory, the Hotwire Foam Factory also, their foam coating products are actually, I'm going to leave them in the video here so we can point to them when I talk to them. Their foam coating products, I believe, are kind of newer products for them. They've mainly been specializing in hot wire cutting tools, and they have a variety of tool sets on the site, different kinds of cutting implements, wires, hot wire blades, engraving tools, quite a slew of things, a 3D scroll table, a lot of things that are going to work really well for a small scale hobbyist. And one of the things that I really wanted to check out, but I've been a little leery to try because it is a little bit more expensive, is to try their variable power station. They have a Pro Power Station, and the Pro Power Station has a dial, a rheostat dial, so that you can adjust the voltage in it, so you can crank up the heat coming out of the wire, which is really, really nice idea. I have a very inexpensive, cobbled together version of something like this for my hot wire table when I'm cutting my modular boards. And to have this kind of implementation on hot wire tools as hand tools looked really appealing to me. So I was really excited that they were willing to send me one to try it out. This is the first time I've seen it. We're looking at it together. It's got a couple jacks for different tools, and it's got a dial. Feels pretty robust. It's a plastic housing. Looks like about a 6-foot cord. Anyway, so they sent me one of those. And I did request one tool in particular. The one tool that I've been eyeing for a long time, I have, what have I been using for hot wire cutting? I've been using the Woodland Scenics U-joint hot wire tool. This is what I do most of the hand cutting for things like in hills, well, mainly hills, to be honest with you. I have another hot wire tool that I've been using to sculpt different textures that I picked up at a train show, but I think of this as sort of like the go-to. Most hobbyists, if you don't have one of these and you're doing terrain, you need one. That's point blank, that's what you need. So I didn't really want to get their version of this, as I have a feeling functionally it's not going to vary very much from this. But one of the tools that they have that I haven't been able to replicate, take a look in here, let's get this box out of here, is, oh, very interesting, okay, is an engraving tool. Now the engraving tool, I'll be honest, I haven't tried it out yet, and I haven't really seen it except for pictures on the site, but it's got a slightly, sharpened point here, and it plugs into the variable power station, and then you can adjust the temperature of it to do engraving. I think this is going to work out really well for carving out bricks, or iconography on stone, maybe if you want to do tribal symbols, or maybe a very army-specific kind of symbol on a wall. So that was something I was really interested in trying out. First impressions of it, it's got a rubberized handle texture on the side here that appears to be, I think it's just glued on. There's a little recess for it, and then that's sort of just stickied onto that. Feels nice though, actually. There's an on-off switch to activate it, which is kind of nice, so you don't have to worry about adjusting the volume of your rheostat and then trying to recover that. You could leave it at a preset setting, and then you could just turn it off and then go back to the work, and you know what temperature it's going to be at, so I like that. I'm not sure what these guides are for. I don't know. I'll have to see if I can look on the site for some instructions. Don't mind the phone, I'm not answering it. And then it's, I would say overall though, feels a little light. It's plastic housing. Feels a little, kind of a little empty inside, but probably doesn't need a lot of electronics. Durability-wise, it seems like it's probably going to be sufficient. It's not something you should be dropping or banging around anyway. So that's that. The second thing they included, which is very interesting and not what I expected at all, is a hot wire knife, which is actually more like a just straight hot wire. Now, if you understand anything about electricity, you might say to yourself, how does that get hot? In general, what you need to do is you have electricity flow through a wire, so you need a completed circuit, and the wire, the metal, in fact, acts as a resistor to the electricity, and that heats up. Don't ask me for any more of an explanation on that, because I don't understand it. But when you look at a straight wire like this, the first thought is, well, how do you make a complete circuit? Because you need power to go in, you need power to leave. It looks like that it is a hollow tube, and then the wire electricity passes on the outside, and then passes on the inside, and that completes the circuit. So you can have a single knife that you could cut through, stuff like that. Now, I've been using a hot wire tool similar to this to cut, but I've been pretty disappointed with how hot it gets and how fast I can cut through foam. So I'll be really excited to try this out. It's not what I expected at all. I was expecting a flat blade, so I think that's going to be pretty cool, actually. All right. Well, anyway, that's what came in the kit. An engraver, hot wire tool, the Pro Power Station, and a basic foam coat starter kit kind of sample package that's got all of those different products in it. So I thought rather than just do an unboxing today, I'd also include the first of the sort of reviews, if you will, of one of these products. And I thought I'd start with the Foam Fusion, because I already had some Foam Fusion in stock. I got it when I got my first package. I've been using it, but haven't really assessed what kind of quality the Foam Fusion has versus, say, some more traditional adhesives like wood glue. So what I did last night, whoops, let's move all that out of the way. Let's move this out of the way, and let's take a look at these. What I did last night is I took the standard pink foam. This is extruded polystyrene foam. This is 1.5 inches thick. It's pretty resistant to damage. This is what I make all my modular boards out of. And typically when I glue it, I use wood glue. So I put a little blob of wood glue, and I put a little blob of the Foam Fusion, and I left them overnight to see how fast they dry. One of the things I'd be looking for, particularly in an adhesive, is a rapid setting time. And taking a look at these, you can see that, as is true for most of these kinds of adhesives, they skim over, and then when they skim over, that really impairs the ability of it to, oh, there we go, in the screen, impairs the ability of it to dry more quickly. So what you end up with is a clear surface layer, and then you have uncured glue below it. And I thought, just eyeballing it, we could see which one appears to be drying more quickly, and I'd say, about the same. That's my, this is not scientific, this is just subjective impression. So, hopefully you can draw your own conclusions from the photos or the video, that I'm showing. The other thing I did is I applied it to these blocks, and I compressed these blocks under 20 pounds of metal weight overnight. And I wanted to see, again, when it squeezes out the sides, how fast it's drying, how clear it finishes. I will say one of the advantages to using the foam fusion is it's going to dry clear, and that sometimes is a problem on finished pieces when I'm using the wood glue, as when it dries, it appears yellow in the finish, and that's always not the most attractive thing when you're trying to do a finished adhesion, as opposed to something you're going to prime over and paint later. Lastly, the thing that I'm mostly concerned about with adhesives is that in the center of a block, when you make a large adhesive surface, it typically seals, much like these dots do here. It seals around the edge, seals the edge airtight, and then it takes a tremendously long time for adhesive to cure underneath the block in the center. Now, a lot of times you don't need that to make it a strong bond, and it's going to get stronger and stronger over time as it continues to dry, because it will continue to dry, just at a very slow rate. But I thought perhaps the foam fusion maybe dries a little faster and then get a stronger bond more quickly underneath the core block. I suspect that's not true based on its appearance on the outside, as it looks like it's performing pretty much very similar to the wood glue. So then I thought I would just try to rip this off and see how strong it is. This is unplanned, and let's see. Whoa, well, that's on there pretty good. Oh, shit. Jesus. Well, that's a pretty good bond, I'll say that. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Let me catch my breath on that. So taking a look at that, you can see some of the glue was still wet underneath it, but I did do a sort of a passing coat over the entire block, and then when I pressed it with the weight, it actually shimmied around a little bit. So overall, it's dry underneath, probably attributing to that, and you can see here that it actually ripped some of the bottom foam off as part of that adhesion. So I don't know, I don't think you could ask for a stronger bond than that overnight. So that's pretty solid. Let's see about the wood glue, see what that did. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow, was that easy to get off, actually? That's interesting. Quick look at that. You can see a lot of glue has not dried underneath, and I tried to make the application very similar in amount for these. So I feel like it's a pretty fair comparison. A lot of glue is not cured underneath, and you can also see that the bond did not be strong enough. I say it was not strong enough to tear off foam below. I mean, here what you're looking at is you're looking at the bond being stronger than the foam itself, so that when it gives, it's actually the foam that's giving rather than the glue. And here, it's clearly the glue that's giving, which is not as strong as the foam. That's a little bit of a surprise, actually. I didn't really expect that. Alright, so, first review, foam fusion versus wood glue. Foam fusion gets a thumbs up. If you're looking for a strong bond, that's going to give it to you. Considerably stronger than wood glue, which is what I use as a default. And wood glue, I'd say, would be a very good comparison to normal PVA. Wood glue is very similar. I think it's supposed to be a little bit stronger, but it's just a little bit more thick as well, so it dries a little bit faster. So there's your first thought. I guess the next question, which I didn't even think to test, is how much the foam fusion shrinks, which can affect warpage. If you're understand adhesives at all, adhesives, they have a carrier agent in them. It's the thing that makes them liquid. And as the carrier leaves the solid behind, it actually, the material will contract and get smaller. And that's why if you use hot glues, for instance, like a hot glue stick, hot glue stick. If you use a hot glue stick, you melt this to melting point, and then when this cools, it returns to a solid, but there's no material loss. What you put down is what retains there, so there's actually no shrinking as well. Now, one of the things that happens when adhesives shrink is that because they shrink, they end up pulling the material to try to meet in the middle, and that's where you get warping. You'll get warping on thinner materials more easily. You'll get warping on heavier applications of adhesive because there's more volatiles leaving, like water, solvents, that sort of idea. So I'm going to have to maybe make a little application of foam fusion on something thin like maybe some foam core, paint that on, and we'll see when that dries how much of it warps compared to the warping of, say, wood glue or PVA as a little bit of a comparison. Didn't think to do that. I don't know, I didn't expect there to be that much difference. I would say there is quite a bit, though. So, there's your review. Foam Fusion from the Hot Wire Foam Factory. I want to thank the Hot Wire Foam Factory for sending these products to review. I'm looking forward to putting some of these other materials to the test and really learning about whether they are going to stack up superior to a lot of things that we might commonly use in their place. Hopefully I'm going to be doing a video perhaps a week on these products, and we'll take a look at them in some different ways. I'd like to do some carving with that engraving tool, coat it with some bounce, take a look at it for its ability to retain some texture, do some strength tests with the foam coat, do some strength tests with the boost added to it, a whole bunch of stuff I've got in mind, but I can't just sit down and bang them all out in 1 week, so we're gonna parse them out over the next several weeks, and we'll take a look at them as we go. If you have any questions about these products, I recommend that you go to the Hot Wire Foam Factory website. I'll put a link in the description down below the video, and you can check out their pricing and their shipping and some of the other products that they have. And hopefully you found this interesting, and I look forward to seeing you again for the next review video for the Hot Wire Foam Factory. Talk to you later.